Hey now, and how are you doing? Want to welcome you to the next episode of Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Today, I'm going to bring to you really the warrior shaman. I can't wait to talk to you, to let you introduce to my friend Bogdan. How you doing, Bogdan?
I'm doing well, and like I mentioned when we talked the first time, I absolutely love the name of your show. It's very congruent to my philosophy of life.
Yeah, no, I know. When we had that little talk, we definitely aligned so much on so many things. But why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do, how you help people?
Sure. I'm an amplifier of money and freedom for experts, entrepreneurs, agency owners, and I've been doing this for a few years now. Before that, I created and taught the first personal development through martial arts program, and I would help people become a lot more confident, a lot more successful in their lives, and it naturally transitioned into coaching.
Yeah, no, right. And from that martial arts background, what did that teach you? I mean, I don't have a full martial arts background, but I know for me, it taught me structure and consistency. So why don't you explain it to us? You're the expert.
It taught me the value of yin and yang. In other words, a lot of coaches either give you business strategy, but without the mindset to support those business strategy, you're left kind of wondering, you're not really in a position to fully use those strategies that you paid handsomely for. And on the flip side, you pay for the mindset, right? You learn how to better deal with your emotions, maybe a bit of manifestation techniques, but then you're left wondering, okay, but how do I actually create sales calls and leads? Right? For example, one of my biggest clients, a gentleman doing 120 million a year, he was terrified to grow the business because he thought he was going to make a mistake that would cost him millions.
Mm.
I used the mindset element to help him tap into his courage and pull out the business owner, the badass business owner self. But we also looked at his marketing strategies to amplify the business. We also looked at ways to hire exceptional people in his business. So it's never one-sided, right? Whether you're just starting out or you're very successful, just having this one sided approach to, oh, I need a better marketing strategy. Sure, but you also need to become something different to be able to market at a new level.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it is that yin yang. Now, I just want to make sure everybody heard that was $100 million client who's making revenue of over $100 million, who still wanted to grow. I think
Right.
that's really important to understand because the fact that we want to continue to grow, how we continue to grow, is so powerful because either you're growing or you're dying, right? Either you're growing or you're shrinking, and people don't
Yep.
want to shrink. But and even those people who we would deem successful, $100 million revenues, over $100 million revenues, many of us would say, "Wow, that's very successful." And he or she still has limiting beliefs. How do
Of
you
course.
approach that? Because
100%.
how would you approach something like that? Do you approach it the same way, even though they might have more resources to throw at it? Because resources, finding the right resources, is the most important part.
I would say that's secondary. I would say because we generally have life backwards. We think, okay, when I have the resources, things I'm gonna make progress. That's never it. It's always like first, before anything, confidence is needed, self-belief, self-worth. Because think of it this way, right? I mean, I'm not making $100 million, but the only reason why this client trusted me was because I worked on my confidence and my self-worth, was because I wasn't afraid to tell him the truth and potentially even lose him as a client right from the
Right.
start. Right. So it's never about resources. You become resourceful once you understand your worth, right? Because think of it, think of it this way. You might have like $1 billion idea, but without the self-worth, the confidence to present this idea and to keep going despite the no's, despite the rejection, despite everybody telling you that you're crazy, you're never going to find the right people to support that idea and believe in it because you don't believe in it. You don't believe in it because you don't believe in yourself, right? So that's always first. It's like the horse, confidence is the horse, but we like to put the horse behind the carriage.
Right. Many of us get paralyzed in building up things, and I've been guilty of that as well. But it's the confidence to know that what we do, and it goes to show every level, no matter where you are, is, there's always a confidence level that one you need. But I
Yeah,
had heard this comment recently. You have to also have the confidence of the next level, also, or at least the
100%.
beginnings of the next
Hmm.
level. You can't just
Yeah,
be at the level where you're at because that's how you plateau. You have to have the confidence for the
100%.
next level and grow through that.
100%. Would you like us to do a bit of energy work with your audience?
Sure, of course.
Cool. So for everybody listening in, this is 100% on point, what David is sharing. This is called identity shifting. It's like, how would your future self, that version of you that you want to become, how would they think, feel, and act right now, right? So if you can take a moment to close your eyes for a bit and just imagine that version of you. Maybe it's the person in your vision board. Maybe it's the person who can handle that level of success that you are aiming for. And just imagine for one moment being that person right now. Feel that energy inside your body. Let it amplify and let that energy consume you. You're going to notice that you're breathing differently. You're going to notice that your posture is different. Some of you might even notice a big smile on your face and this deep sense of peace, of trust, of knowing that you can handle any challenge, any puzzle. And if you can't, you will be supported by people, by resources, by inspiration, by time to solve any puzzle. And now imagine starting your day with this energy. Imagine tapping into this energy before every task. What would that feel like? What would be the outcome of you being this person consistently? You're ready. Open your eyes.
Ooh.
I like to call this the badass business owner self.
Okay, yeah, no, you have to think about and see yourself doing all the things in the future. Because if you can't see it, that's one of the things I once learned from one of my daughters who was a horseback rider. When
Mm-hmm.
you want to ride the horses, when you want to turn, you have to turn your head before the horse because you're guiding the
Mm,
horse. And by doing that, you're able to guide and be at one with the horse as you're riding it. And the same thing applies to so much that we do here presently, because if you can't see yourself being the badass, then you can't be the badass. You could
yeah.
say it, but if you can't see it, you have to then eventually see it and start off with seeing it and then figuring out how to get to it. Would you say that's right?
Yes, 100%. And this image just came while you were sharing that. I'm Romanian. I live in Romania. One of our most famous, if not the most famous athletes that this country produced is Nadia Comaneci, and she was the gymnast that got like a perfect 10,
Yep.
10 out of 10.
1976, right?
There we go, right? And that was like incredible. Nobody in history ever done that. And the reason why this some a story that my karate teacher used to tell us, she would practice her routines in her head while walking, home from school, like in any chance she got, but she would visualize herself doing those routines perfectly over and over and over again. So it's less about like thinking how you're going to do things in the future. It's more about bringing that version of you here. How are you doing
Sure, you're
things
right.
now, right?
Yeah, living in the now and bringing it forward, right? We always talk about our future self, but we're allowed to also reverse because it's just energy. It's just
Yeah,
the bringing of the energy, the manipulation of the energy to bringing it towards us to today. Be ready for it now and planning because the things we plan today, the seeds we plant are going to grow tomorrow and the next day. But if we bring in then today the belief that we could do it, but the true belief and the true confidence that it's going to happen, not if it's going to happen when I get a call, when I do this. It's I already
got
have
it.
it. I just have to now implement the right strategies. And that's where you come in to help them implement the right strategies.
Yeah. And one of like the a lot of my work is kind of removing this idea of hard work
Mm,
as being the only way. And it's really not because let's say, going back to the billion-dollar business idea. You have the same people with the same ideas, right? This is very common. Like people tend to download like an idea, and the same idea pops into multiple different people's awareness. And the people who become famous are the ones who actually take action on
sure.
these big ideas, or rather, who believe that they can sustain that idea and grow it. So let's say you have one person who doesn't really believe in this, that they can, or rather still has this belief that they need to work hard. So what do you post on social media every day, right? Post, 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 become better at content. And maybe like in a few years, this idea gets out there. And then you have this other person who really, really believes in this idea and says, hey, you know what? This is way too good for me to waste time. So they go straight to the top, like the top investors that they can find. And they say, hey, I got this thing. Want it or not? Yes, no, no, yes, no, no. And then they reach, bam, that person. So when you let go of this thing, that hard work is the thing, you literally collapse the time between where you are and where you want to be.
Mm. Yeah, no, and that's the apparent right. Because we want to shorten the ability. We don't want to be waiting, right? We're very impatient people. But how do you? So again, when you said the yin yang, um, how do you get that blend, right? Because it's that perfect blend when you start weaving it through. Because if you do it too much one, too much the other, you're imbalanced. What are some ways that you would say about balancing, not only seeing ourselves, which is one of the first starts, but that balance? Again, you had mentioned about working too hard,
Right.
where it's not about working harder, it's really working smarter,
Mhm.
and that's really where the balance comes into.
Yeah, that's very it's very different and very intimate for each individual person, this
Sure.
idea of balance, right? Like I asked this to one of my grandmasters back when I was studying martial arts, right? I said, I'm really looking forward to that balance that martial arts gives you. And he said, look, it's not easy because you have to know when to sit and when to go. And that just comes with experience.
Mm.
That just comes with testing out different things, testing out working really hard today, putting in 12, 14 hours, see how that feels. Working 2 hours tomorrow, let's say. I'm just giving like rough examples and see which one fits for you. Because we have different personalities. When Alex Hormozy loves the work and we just lives for the work, that's fine, right? But not everybody has, the desire to just keep working all the time. Some of us actually want to spend time with our families, right? It's very personal, this idea of balance, but it's still a fluctuation, a pulsation rather, between doing and not doing.
For sure, because You have to figure out what's right for you, but you also have to sometimes take the ego out is what I knew I was working hard at one point in my life. What I felt was for my family, but my family wasn't feeling the same response back.
Right,
And
right.
we have to acknowledge that and know that. That's a little about self-awareness that I might not have had. Well, I had some parts of it, but not completely. I thought people would see what we're doing, but you need to have those conversations. How do you have those conversations? First with yourself, right? Because we have to say, no, I can't push myself because there's a time to push, and then there's a time to take it easy. How is one way using, you know, your shaman tools?
Well, the short answer is you can't. You can't. There's a reason why they're called blind spots, right? You
Right.
might be 100% convinced that everything you're doing is for your family, but like just like you said, your family not really feeling it. Your family rather having you there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to have a conversation and then off to work. But because you're 100% sold on it, you can't see it. It's the same reason, like as coaches, like we have this thing of being exceptional, of helping our clients with a thing, and then the exact thing that we you wake us up in the middle of the night to do, we do it effortlessly for clients. We cannot do it for shit for ourselves,
Yep.
right?
It's right. It's so hard to do it for ourselves. You have to dive deep. I know when I've done work on myself, it's been hard because we have
Mm-hmm.
our resistance that comes up. We have a lot of different things that come up,
Yeah.
and it really is difficult. But you can do it, but you have to do work that much harder, right? There's a lot more resistance when you're working with a
Yeah. Yeah.
client. We know as mentors, shamans, and it really we know how to talk to our client much better. And when we talk to
100%.
ourselves, it's that self-talk that really we struggle with at times.
And that's why we need people that can be honest with us, right? Especially like if you're a high performer, if you're in the beginning stages of your business, you don't really have people that can be honest because either they don't understand what you're doing, what you're going through, or they don't necessarily see the vision, right? So maybe if they are honest, they maybe it's not perfectly aligned with what you're trying to do. If you're a high performer, it's even harder to have honesty in your life because everybody around you is so impressed by what you're doing, by your work, and they don't want to fall from your graces. So having somebody to be by your side who can afford, who you given permission and has that level of clarity. Like long story short, every shaman needs a shaman, every coach needs a coach, every business owner
But you can't see it
needs an
all.
expert.
I mean, no, I agree, and that's why when you find the right people, I mean, even a partner, even a romantic partner, if you don't have all honesty or the ability to have that conversation, it doesn't flow as well as when you do. When you have that right connection, you know it. And the same thing with the trust on having the right person to work with. And they might not have the answers. And if they're really good enough, they're going to tell you, I'm not really sure what to do here. Let me go reach out. I know I've done that because if I say I know it all, I would then be inauthentic with my clients. And
Yeah.
the answer is, I know a lot. I know how to handle a lot. And I know I have a great skill set, but I don't know it all. And because of that, I still push myself. Again, when we were talking about when do you know to push yourself? Well, when I learn something new, that's an opportunity to grow through it instead of just hiding in the I don't know. I don't want somebody to know that weakness. I'm okay saying that to clients. I'm okay saying that to people. Could you explain that a little further?
I mean, that's a huge indicator of confidence in leadership.
Yeah. No, and so as a shaman in your martial arts, let's talk a little bit about leadership. How do we lead? What's the best way to lead? Again, starting from ourselves, but how do we lead? Maybe not necessarily in the hey, look at this one doing all this stuff. Maybe as a backseat, but impacting a room or a community. What are some ways that you would suggest?
By shutting up.
Just sitting there, by being quiet.
No, I'm kidding. My definition of leadership is um, when somebody in the team, like when the marketing specialist is like, leadership is not follow me and do what I say, because just like you said, you don't know everything.
Right,
Why should you?
100%.
Right. So true leadership is number one, understanding what your team's desires, fears, hopes, dreams are, and helping them achieve their visions. Even that, even if that means them leaving the team and starting their own thing, or maybe just continuing their career somewhere else. Because let's say somebody starts a brand new business and is successful. When you hire somebody who's like this A-type personality who's very ambitious, this is a selling point for the job, right? Like, hey, Alex joined our team, and in a year he just started his own business.
Right.
That's huge. And a lot of people are intimidated by this idea, but that's not the point. Your point as a leader is to get them closer to their dreams, and they will get you to yours. Secondly, if the marketing specialist is talking, everybody in the team shuts up, listens, and maybe takes some notes. If the cleaning team in the office is talking, everybody shuts up, listens, and takes notes. And the leader facilitates this type of collaboration, this type of communication.
No, and I think that's right. And that's the great thing is right. Yes, shut up, as you said, or be you'll be observant, and
Yep.
then take notes because we can learn from everybody. That's why I always say, don't always be the smartest guy in the room so you can teach people. No, be among the smartest so you can share, learn, see things differently, but also make sure the people who are new to the room, whatever room that is, also have value, and then they're going to see things completely different. Because as we teach things, I've made that mistake in the past, and I've had that mistake made to me in the past, is where you know something so well, you don't teach it that well because you're skipping a step because you know it versus
Right.
taking it down and breaking it down. And that's why now I have the confidence also when I teach, if I go, if anything you don't understand, stop me immediately. Because if you don't understand it, somebody else in the room probably doesn't understand it. Or
Mhm.
you're going to challenge me to grow through it and explain it in a better way for the future. So you're helping so many different people. And that gets me a lot more hands raised than it did when I was just like, excuse me, teaching at people.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's what I really appreciate about you. You have decades of working with people and leading people, and you're still extremely curious about new things, new mindsets, new ideas. Probably the reason why you're doing this show, and you're doing it really, really well.
So what makes you curious? This week,
Mm, that's uh that's an interesting question. Nobody asked me this question. Um, Progress makes me curious. It varies, right? Because I'm curious in multiple different topics. Like I'm extremely curious about um, extraterrestrial life, about spirituality, about business, about scaling ideas, marketing, sales. But I think, yeah, the main thing that sparks my curiosity the most, and I think that's always been the case, is how people work. I think I
yep,
was always fascinated by that because, like, when I was a kid, I didn't understand people at all. Like, I was like so socially awkward, had no friends. You know, I was voted in fifth grade as being the most disliked kid in the class. Like, actually, somebody actually took,
a
you know,
poll.
a
Wow, that's
poll, exactly right, and I
yeah,
was number one. There was no number two. I was the only one on the list.
okay. Wow, that's a
So.
yeah. And now, at least from what I know about you, you're probably one of the most liked people, around in various. I mean, we got connected through a lot of different ways. So, our
Mhm.
growth, because I'm sure when you were as a fifth grader, you were maybe more defensive, and now you're much more open to talking about the things that need to be talked about.
had a huge tendency. Well, regarding me being like, depends on who you ask. But
Me too. Guilty as charged.
right. But I looking back, the thing was I didn't have any confidence, and I was trying to
Mm,
be what I thought kids wanted me to be, what I thought was cool. So I was trying like copying this idea of what I thought cool was, and I was getting the exact opposite consistently. Only when I stopped caring about what kids thought about me and stopped placing importance on it, I relaxed and I allowed myself to be myself, and that's how they actually started trusting me.
sure. That authenticity will always get you the right people. Still, there'll be still people who will, again, from their point of view, but that's something that's within them. And, that's why being your most authentic self is always the most important part.
Mm. Yeah. And the thing is, you never know what that version really is because, especially if you're on a journey of growth, what's authentic today might not be authentic tomorrow. It's going to
Correct.
be, but I think it's the, hey, here's what I believe today, fight me or whatever, right? Like this is how I'm thinking about it. I think it's just like,
And that's part of growth, right? So
yeah,
a decision or a belief that you might have today might not be in an hour from now because you can have new information, and that's
yeah,
growth. That's that emotionally intelligent person who goes, okay, not everything I did was 100% fine. Not everything I did. How could I have done things differently? Why
yeah,
did I react to the way that I did? And learning those things becomes a really powerful piece.
100%, 100%.
So I know we're wrapping up around 30 minutes or so, but I want to ask you, could you give us, you've already given us so many gems during this episode. Is there anything else like a seed you'd like to plant within the community that's listening?
You're stronger than you know.
That's excellent. Yeah, just so everybody remember that. Could you say that again? I just want to make sure that they hear that.
Yeah, I think they did. The right people did.
Okay. How can we contact you? So one of the, obviously I'd love to everybody to get to know you a little bit better and the work that you do. What are the best ways to contact you?
Instagram or YouTube. That would be the best.
Okay, and just as your name. Okay.
I'll send you a link or something to
Okay.
my social
Yeah, we'll
media.
put that in the notes. Okay. And is there anything else before
Beautiful.
we leave? Is there anything else you want to kind of leave us with a nugget?
Yeah, sorry about drinking so much water. It's so hot over here in Romania. Like all of a sudden it turned hot and my mouth is drying up consistently.
Yep,
Um,
I get that as well. You're all good.
Anything else that I would like to leave you with? Mm. Um, I would say maybe this idea of allowing your intuition to guide you more.
Trust your
Um,
intuition. Awesome.
I live close to the mountains and I still haven't familiarized myself too much. Like we moved here a few years ago, but honestly, I haven't familiarized myself with the trails, right? The hiking options here. So this weekend, I just said, hey, I'll just follow my gut. Let's see where it takes me. I'm not kidding. It's just, like, it was like, should I turn left or right? Left. Okay, left. Right, right. This stunning place that I've never been to. Like it was unbelievable. Like you would think it was the Swiss Alps. Beautiful, beautiful place. So it's like it's a bit of a muscle. You can be very intuitive in some aspects of life, but close that off in other aspects of life. So maybe bringing that version of you who is very intuitive and trusts your intuition in that specific area of life, bring it to all areas of life. And I think you'll just experience more moments like that of pure bliss and beauty.
Okay, no, I think that's right. Be present where you are, get into nature, and that's always going to help you reset. That's one of the things that I enjoy so much to do because no matter what nature means to you, is it a beach? Is it a mountain? Is it just walking in water or walking in your grass, in your
Yeah,
neighborhood at a park? There's so many
that's also cool.
benefits to that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and we'll make sure everybody gets your links and the knowledge. We're going to listen to it. I can't wait to listen to this episode again. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And everybody else, as always, take the knowledge that came out of here, bring a peace and love into your life, and when you bring it back, keep those awesome thoughts, bring those awesome thoughts, and be awesome today. Thank you.